Good afternoon, friends. 1 minute. So, good afternoon, friends. Today we are going to continue our yesterday's part of the unit number 6, which we have started, and that bit was ejection system. So, we are dealing with the chapter injection molding design. So, injection means injecting the plastic material into the this mold, and ejection means ejection of the solidified product outside the mold. Solidified product. There are a number of mechanisms. By the time you have studied pin ejection system, so pins are there and pin are going to eject the components. But there are certain limitations for using only pin type of ejection system, and hence the list of system is given to you by me yesterday. So that system includes, first one was pin ejection system, then second was sleeve ejection system, then third is wall ejection system, fourth one is air ejection, then fifth one is stripper plate type ejection. So today we are going to cover the remaining types of ejection system. So yesterday we have covered pin ejection system and sleeve ejection system. So what limitations of pin ejection system, or what requirement of pin ejection system? Yesterday we have seen that requirement was the effective diameter of pin which was used. So edge or face area of the component, depending upon face area of the component, whether the pin diameter will be equal to wall thickness, pin diameter lesser than wall thickness, and pin diameter more than wall thickness. So pin diameter equal to wall thickness is desirable. Then pin diameter less than wall thickness is not desirable, because there may be chance that your pin may get penetrate into the surface of component. And pin diameter more than wall thickness is also not desirable. Why it was not desirable? Pin diameter more than wall thickness, why it was not desirable? Because of use of or wastage of the efficiency. Unnecessarily, I told, if you want half liter of water, then you can carry small mug or bottle. If you carry the large bucket of 30 liter capacity to bring half liter water, there is a loss of efficiency. That's why utilization of the pin has been selected, that we have seen yesterday. Then we have seen later on wall ejection system, sleeve ejection system we have covered yesterday. So sleeves are nothing but cylinder inside cylinder inside cylinder inside cylinder, like antenna you have seen. As you go on pulling it, the length go on increasing. Accordingly, it will cover. This sleeve type of ejection system is used for the hollow component where you cannot locate the pins. Now, there are certain components. You can see the ejection of deep large components. When components are deep large, in that case also there may be difficulty in location of the pin, and hence such next advanced technique used is wall ejection. So wall ejection is used for ejection of deep and large components. When components are deep and large, wall ejection system used, because if you use pin in such case, there may be problem of piercing of the material, and to avoid piercing of the material, large area wall head is machined. So there is one single pin or rod, and at the end of rod some wall is fitted. So it may be larger size than that pin, and that will act as a resting surface on the component. And this pin is operated with the spring mechanism. Usually tension spring is used. So when you are going to press the lever, this pin along with wall will come out. Assume that this is a wall. So such wall is fitted, and component ID inner diameter is larger than this wall. Okay, so this will come out and it will force the component out, and again it will come back, and then component will fall. So the wall pin is assembled with spring and actuated against the spring, and after ejection, spring causes the wall to return to its original position. Very simple mechanism. It is as shown in figure. So used for large and deep components. You can draw the figure along with me. This is a spring, and this is a wall, and this is a product. Draw this figure. So if we use only pin, in such case, what will happen? There will be chance of locating the there is a chance of piercing of the pin into the product. That's why this wall is fitted against the pin, and only single arrangement will cause the product to go out, or once it will come out through the mold, it will fall down, and then wall will again return back to original position, because this is tension spring. Because of your pressure of the lever, spring get tensed. But that is not its original position. Because of pressure, it is get tensed. When it is get tensed, the product will come out. It will fall down. Once again, if you release the pressure, spring, because of its inertia, come back to the original position. So this is wall ejection, and used for ejection of deep and large components. Hope you have drawn this figure. Wall ejection system. Now, if we want to make some modification here, I don't want to use spring mechanism. Don't want to use spring mechanism. I hope you have completed this. I'm going to erase it now. I will keep it for one more minute. You can take screenshot. You can take screenshot, and then you can draw in the notebook. Now I'll erase. Fourth type, air ejection. Air ejection means what? The compressed air is used for ejection of the component. But compressed air will not be just passed into the mold as it is. Some guiding path is required for movement of that compressed air against the component. So it should touch to component at particular points. Then only it is possible to remove it. And hence, a similar mechanism is used, having one tube which is carrying number of branches of the holes, and through that holes compressed air will come out. Similar figure I will draw here. Wait. Pay attention. Now, this component will be taken in contact with the component. This end part of this knob is taken into contact with the component. Through these small holes, openings, the compressed air will come out, and then it will force that component to come out the part. So it is just kept in touch position and compressed air is passed. So it is just taken into touch position, or it may be already in position inside the mold, which is in touch with the component to the surface. And then only walls will be opened and compressed air will be passed, and this product will fall down. Draw this figure. This is the air ejection. An important thing, amount of ejection force depends on pressure of compressed air and area on which it acts. Amount of ejection force depends upon pressure of compressed air and area on which it acts. Pressure of compressed air and area on which it acts. This amount of force, ejection force, depends on it. So this figure is similar to earlier figure of wall ejection. Only the thing is that wall was operated to and fro with the help of spring. This is in just touch with the component, but air will force that component to come out. I hope you have drawn this figure. Then fifth type, stripper plate ejection system. Many times what happened, whatever end part which you are using for removing the component, suppose this is the end part through which compressed air is coming out, and the surface area of the component is larger, then it will not execute correct pressure. So upper part may remain in stick and only middle part get removed. For example, I will show you. Suppose this is your component. This is your component, it is in stick, and you are forcing it from center. What will happen? It may come out in this way, but upper end and lower end may in stick position with the mold, and only only middle part get out, and there may not be uniform pressure from this end to this end. So I repeat once again, there may be chances that in such cases if you are holding with wall or compressed air position in this way, then upper end and lower end may remain in stick position with the wall, and only middle part may come out like this. That is not expected. Oh, hence uniform motion is required, which will cover all maximum area, and for that purpose stripper plate is used. So what is the stripper plate ejection? Stripper plate ejection consists of use of one stripper plate which covers maximum area of the component, and that stripper plate is operated by pins. I repeat once again, stripper plate is operated by pins. So when you are going to apply the pressure, pins will come forward. At the end of pins, one big stripper plate is fixed. That stripper plate will force your component outside the mold. So in this system, the extra plate is actuated, and the use of stripper plate gives uniform ejection pressure on the component. That's why I was saying, use of stripper plate gives uniform ejection pressure on the component, and after the ejection, stripper plate get back to the original position. After ejection, stripper plate once again get back to the original position, and stripper plate is in touch with the ejector pins. So how it operates, just check. There are two steps, so draw the figure carefully. Fifth one, stripper plate. Ejection. Stripper plate ejection. Draw this figure. This is a stripper plate which comes forward, which moves forward. This plate is moved forward because of the spins. This plate moves forward because of the pin, and then your product will fall down. This product falls down, and this is your cavity plate. This is the stripper plate. So please pay attention. If you look at the figure carefully, so initial position of the mold is closed position. Mold is closed position. Right hand side is cavity plate, left hand side is core plate. There are two plates in the mold. So female is called as cavity plate and male is called as core plate. So this hashed part I have shown, that is core area where you don't want your plastic material to go. So left hand side is core plate, male plate, and right hand side is cavity plate, female plate. And then one stripper plate is attached here. That stripper plate moves over the core plate, core part. Initially it is at the back side. When this core plate and cavity plate are in clamping position, they are in clamping position. There is a gap. This is a gap here. Dotted part which I have shown, that is your plastic component. There is a gap. Okay. Now, these ejector pins are at the back position. When solidification over, I have not shown nozzles, etc. Actually, this is fixed and this is movable. But for better understanding, I have shown this to you. Now, when solidification is over, the ejector pin mechanism is in the core plate. That will be actuated, and this part goes, and it is now in touch position with this. You can see the difference. Earlier it was at the back side, and now it forces the pins. That pins are in contact with the stripper plate, and this stripper plate will take that product out directly, and it will move on the core and it will fall down. And this is your one mold plate, this is another mold plate. When product will fall, stripper plate will go back, and again both molds are clamped together. This is the arrangement for stripper plate ejection system. I hope you understand it better. You can draw this figure. It may be asked for 4 marks in case of subjective examination. This is as far as the ejection mechanism is concerned. So there are 5 types of ejection mechanism. First one is pin ejection system. Second one is sleeve ejection system. Third one is wall ejection system. Fourth one is air ejection system. And fifth one is stripper plate ejection system. So these are the mechanisms for ejection of the component. That's why in injection molding, only injection is not important. Ejection is also important. If ejection will not be proper, your product will stick to the mold wall and then it will be loss of efficiency, loss of productivity. How easily you are removing your product outside the mold is also important concern. That's why ejection systems are designed as per the requirement and as per the constraint used in the mold. Whenever we have studied the injection mold design process, we have not considered all these aspects of this injection and ejection, etc. We have only considered the mold plates, and that was very, very basic mold design part. And actually, if you go, you will see. So I told at the start of my class, there is a book of Nike, Nike, plastic mold designs. That book copies are also available in the library. We have made it available in the book bank. Unfortunately, I don't know how many of you have taken the facility of it. You can see that book of Nike here in detailed design procedure for injection mold, compression mold, blow mold, everything is given there. So those who want to continue their career in such fields, such books, Braden book is also there. All these books are important for you. Okay, don't keep your views limited. Just we are going to appear for MCQ examination. So that is true, everybody knows. But kind of knowledge which you want to gain to become the complete engineer after this 8th semester, you must have the knowledge, at least minimum knowledge of designing of these dies and other things. Because plastic engineering is your elective subject. Those who are not yet placed in any of the company, your interviews will be on the project and elective subjects, remember. Okay? So this is the part which we have covered as far as ejection systems are concerned. Last bit of this chapter is important terms in injection molding. There are short, simple concepts. Important terms in injection moldings. So I hope you have drawn this figure. You can take screenshot also. I am going to erase this figure now. Important terms in injection molding. So there are 3-4 important terms. First one is short capacity. Second is plasticizing capacity. Third one is clamping force, and fourth one is runner efficiency. So short capacity. Let me define. You can write down the definition. Short capacity means what? It is the maximum amount of plastic material. It is the maximum amount of plastic material to be injected in one shot. Maximum amount of plastic material injected in one shot means one complete cycle of the plastic molding process. I repeat, you can write it down. Maximum amount of plastic material. Maximum amount of plastic material to be injected in one shot. Maximum amount of plastic material to be injected in one shot. In bracket, one complete cycle of the machine. One complete cycle of the machine. So depends upon your machine capacity, these short capacities are varying. Means how much everything are interdependent. Which machine you are selecting, that decides your everything. So how much energy you are going to invest? If higher capacity machine you use, lot of energy is required. How you correlate productivity with it. So if your short capacity is more, your productivity also be more. So all these things are related to each other. So you have to find optimum solution through it. Second, plasticizing capacity. Plasticizing capacity. So how much plastic is plasticized? Plasticizing is different thing. Remember, friends, it becomes semi-solid. So plasticizing means making the solid, making the plastic into semi-solid state. It's called as plasticizing. So that depends upon machine. So it is the amount of material that machine can bring per hour to the molding temperature. Means if your molding temperature means what? 170 degrees Celsius I want to inject. So how much amount of plastic that machine brings at 170 degrees Celsius per hour? I repeat once again. If your molding temperature is 170 degrees Celsius, what is plasticizing capacity? How much amount of plastic that machine brings in 1 hour up to 170 degrees Celsius stage. Because it is continuous process. So plastic from backside you go on putting, and at the end side it is go on injecting. So how much maximum it can plasticize in 1 hour? I repeat once again, how much maximum it can plasticize in 1 hour? Plasticize means to bring to the molding temperature. Write down, it is the amount of material, it is the amount of material that the machine can bring, per hour, एका तासात किती? Per hour to the molding temperature. Amount of plastic that can be plasticized in 1 hour. That is plasticizing capacity. So same material may be injected. Very simple. Material injected per hour. So if in 1 hour X material is in plasticized zone, same material immediately will be injected, otherwise it will become solid. So injected plasticizing capacity gives the injected material per hour. Then clamping force. Third important parameter is clamping force. So this clamping force also we have studied. Clamping force also we have studied. During the this clamping force is injection pressure into projected area. Clamping force is injection pressure into projected area. It is the force which is required to keep the mold house tight without leakage. I repeat once again. This is one mold half. This is another mold half. These two houses are closed pack and kept tightly together without, so that there will not be any leakage of plastic in between through this. Clamping arrangement may be different. It is mechanical clamping, hydraulic clamping, or pneumatic clamping. Wherever, whatever process you use, force is required. So that clamping force means the force which keeps both the mold housed together throughout the process. And it is injection pressure, because injection pressure may cause that wall to break and mold wall may get open. Are you getting my point? Injection pressure may cause the mold wall to open. That's why injection pressure into this area, projected area, is equal to clamping force. Injection pressure into projected area is your clamping force. Then fourth one is runner efficiency. Runner efficiency is the ratio of cross-sectional area of runner to the peripheral area. Ratio of cross-sectional area of runner to the peripheral area. So this runner efficiency decides in how much possible time you can fill all the cavities. No doubt, when runner you are using, that is multi-cavity mold. Runner is only used when cavity numbers are more than one. If there is only single cavity, there is no question of runner. Directly screw is connected to gate and material will go in the mold. But runners are required when your number of cavities are more. Are you getting my point? So that runner efficiency decides in how much minimum possible time your all cavities are filled. Okay, so short capacity, plasticizing capacity, clamping force and runner efficiency. These four are the important parameters which will improve the efficiency of working of injection molding. So your good quality, rate of production, quality products, performance, efficiency of the complete process depends upon these four parameters. That's remember this, it may be part of MCQ. That's why I'm explaining you. This is all about the important terms in the injection molding. So here is the end of unit number 6. Just wait. Okay, friends, this is all about the unit number 6. Now, unit number 7, there are calculations. The major part covers the cooling circuits and calculation of heat dissipation rate. Then temperature of water required in, then temperature of material, all these things are there. That part we will start in next class. So for next class, you should have calculators with you. Okay. So this is all about injection molding, which we have covered. Here, the detailed procedure for injection mold design is covered by me during the exercise of injection mold design. So some component will be given to you, drawing. Looking at that drawing, you have to, once you, XYZ component is to be drawn, XYZ component is to be molded by injection molding. So figure will be given to you, you have to calculate its weight and other things, then you have to decide single cavity use or multi cavity use, and then accordingly at end we have studied the case studies where we have taken 2 cavity injection mold. That part already I have completed. Okay, this is end of unit number 6. Thank you.